What's up, everybody? It's your girl vibing with Nette, and I'm back again with another lit reaction video. Guys, I am watching the Out in Smoke. I am in bed, resting. Um, but I wanted to kind of, you know, give a perspective on the All in Smoke interview with Kamala Harris. I think this will be a good little discussion. So let's get right off into the first clip. Y'all, I am in bed, but I am about to get up. Not gonna be in bed all day, but I just needed to kind of prop my legs up and rest because I did tell y'all I have CHF. I have congestive heart failure, so my legs were a little swollen. So I am right now. I am propped up with my legs up, and I'll be doing this for the next probably 20 or 30 minutes, and then I'll get up and probably start my day. And I am still working, so right now I'm trying to figure out my whole job thing right now and the equipment and everything that I need to get. But yeah, so we'll get started in the next clip. How does a bill become a law? Guys, that's what she's explaining. Mm-hmm. 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 Amen. Because my brother insulin was very high, y'all, when he was living. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Sidebar, y'all. Y'all see how stacked he still reminds me of George Floyd. They could be twins. Could have been twins. And I think he had some kind of tie with him to George Floyd. I wonder if he still is friends with the whole family, even the daughter.
To the people who say, why are we still marching in 2024 when it's common sense what people need? What do you say to that?
to, what's happening now in the streets on choice, to what happened around George Floyd's murder, and moving forward an agenda that's about that. I mean, you could just go through just the different levels of progress that we've had. Often has taken people taking to the streets, which is why, look, I support the right of people to peacefully protest. My opponent in this race, you look up Project 2025.
Nasty work.
They're literally talking about what they would do to arrest people and deport them because they want to suppress. Part of what really concerns me about this moment in time is we've also defined our progress over the years, and therefore our strength, as being about the expansion of rights. And now we're seeing a full-on intent to restrict rights.
Going backwards.
I strongly believe we have to always be vigilant, meaning whatever gains we've made, they will not be permanent unless we stay on it.
Right.
You gotta know you can't take any of our rights for granted. And that's why we have to stay active, and that's about voting, that's about being involved in community organizations, that's about having those conversations when everybody gets together, whether it be at the barbershop or on the kitchen table, to remind ourselves about, look, what's happening and what do we need to do about it.
And I also think too, I mean, some of the stuff we stand and fight for, I do it as a parent. In my lifetime, I may not see the benefits, but I have 7 kids who are going to have more kids that are coming down the pipeline that may one day, I'm sure when your parents fought, they're thinking by the time my daughter's old enough, hopefully she won't be going through this.
That's exactly right. But see, they also taught me this. Don't fall asleep on this stuff. Don't fall asleep on this. Don't sit back and get comfortable. Like, oh, that's done.
Get down. Get down. I'll give you something in a minute. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. That's my baby. She's begging for some of my lunch, of course.
Must be fought and won with each generation. And I think what she meant is, 1, understand whatever gains we make will not be permanent, and 2, therefore you must be vigilant. You got to stay on top of it. And by the way, don't complain about that.
HBCUs are such a big thing now.
I'll give you an example. A guy named Zeke, he's building chapters called New Era in all over Detroit, the Bay Area, Texas, everywhere. And then what they're doing is they're taking care of the communities.
Yeah.
Regardless of race, if somebody's being mistreated, if the store being mistreated, if somebody's being mistreated in that community, they're going to handle it. Hands-on, 19 keys, and also Zeke. Is it anything that you're thinking about that can help these people that's doing these grassroots that actually get stuff down on the ground?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, the mental health issue is probably one of the biggest public policy failures in our country.
Amen.
Healthcare we've acted as though the body starts from the neck down.
Right.
Instead of understanding we need healthcare also from the neck up. And it has to be done in a way that gives people the dignity and the respect they deserve. Right. The most effective mental health care is often because it is peer-based. It is without judgment. And it understands. People have to be understood for, who they are culturally, who they are in terms of their life experience. If you're really going to be able to get into their needs. I worked with a brother here in D.C., Kier, who actually has been doing a lot around modeling, in particular, and I had him come in a couple of years ago, actually. We've been talking about how we focus in particular on our black men and our young black men. Because we also have to take the stigma away. And so part of that is about reminding people, it's just like, if you break your arm or you got a toothache, this is about healthcare. And helping people understand it's a sign of strength to ask for help, not a sign of weakness. Because when we talk about mental health care, a lot of it, especially for people who have experienced trauma, we're talking about pain. And we understand physical pain. Take an aspirin.
Right.
Whatever.
Yep.
But we don't deal with mental and emotional pain in the same way. And here's the thing. First of all,
yeah, she making some good
trauma-inducing
policy statements. I love this for her.
Violence, which crosses socioeconomic lines, by the way, so let's not act as though it's just low-income people. Everywhere. Trauma-inducing. And the thing about it is, when we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, right? What happens when you
PTSD, yeah,
goes to trauma. Somebody explained it to me years ago. It's oversimplified, but I'm going to offer you this. So imagine you're walking across a busy street every day, and a Mack truck comes barreling down. You will produce basically a response without even reflection. You'll jump back. If every day you're walking across that thing, you overproduce the thing. So that one day you're walking across that street, that Mack truck has come barreling down, you see it, and you keep walking. And then we start talking about our young people don't have emotions.
Numb to it.
They're as though they've chosen. As though they have chosen to not have emotion. And we don't realize that a lot of it is physiological, literally. It's how the body learns to protect itself.
Yep.
And for our youngest children, then what does that mean? They start acting out in class. What happens? They get kicked out of class. They're the bad kid. They still start self-identifying that way. And we know where that leads. A lot of the work I did years ago when I was actually DA of San Francisco was focused on a project that it ended up developing something to what we call the San Francisco Wellness Center, which was focused on early detection of childhood trauma so that we could get the diagnosis going for the treatment, right? Because if you don't diagnose it, you can't treat it.
That's
and
right.
I actually brought in mental health care professionals to talk with public school teachers about it. Like, this is what you're seeing.
Okay, now.
Put a label on it.
That's what we
That's
need.
the first step to diagnosing it.
Y'all realize that we don't have public health, public mental health in schools now. We don't have that. There are not enough psychologists, counselors. They're calling them counselors. It's not enough of those people that come in and help those kids with these mental disabilities, these, depression, anxiety, all of that, PTSD. She's right.
And it's not a choice this time.
And you got to diagnose it.
They're actually in pain.
They're
And
actually
it
in pain.
manifests itself in ways that are antisocial potentially. The child's in pain.
Yep. That's where they do. They go to coping, cutting on themselves and, thinking of, we had said, but unaliving themselves. But yeah.
Negativity or hatred or disrespect toward you that he heard and hurt, and he said, I heard it all.
Yeah.
And he said it all hurt. As someone who's been the first in a lot of spaces you've been in, a woman of color knocking on the door to possibly be the next president, how do you protect your mental health and your mental space?
People should not be going to jail for smoking weed. And we know historically what that is meant and who has gone to jail. Second, I just think we have come to a point where we have to understand that we need to legalize it and stop criminalizing this behavior. And so,
for real, because it ain't.
Actually, this is not a new position for me. I have felt for a long time we need to legalize it. So that's where I am on that.
I love it.
Okay.
She said weed, not cannabis. Pay attention, y'all.
Yeah, that's old school, right?
Yeah, that's old school.
That's old school. She said weed, not cannabis.
Favorite
I love it.
Cook and what's your signature dish?
Well, Sundays are my favorite days
Sunday
to
dinner.
cook. Sunday family dinner. I mean, these days it's more difficult for me than ever. But Sunday family dinner,
Yeah, get everybody
might have a
together.
place, and whoever is around, bring your friends.
Party. I'm leaving my
yeah.
number. I want to get invited to one of these Sunday
Okay,
dinners. I'll be back.
okay. You guys are welcome.
Yeah.
Best musical artist in Bay Area history.
Ooh, put her on the spot.
Okay. Kendrick Lamar.
Ever. My mind is going through lots of. I mean, I could go with Too Short, but I
Can't
mean,
go wrong with Too Short.
yeah. Raphael, it's
Mac
so,
Dre.
yeah. Tupac and his
Yeah,
his
played
rappers,
yeah, he played there 40.
yeah.
5 dinner guests that are alive.
I'm gonna get emotional when I say this. My mother and my husband never met.
Okay.
My mother passed away before we got married. So if I could put him at the table with my mother,
Okay.
Shirley Chisholm, first black woman to run for president.
That's big.
Oh,
My
and
first time
I
hearing
would
that one.
so
A lot of
love
people don't
to
know she
sit with her.
Pick her brain.
I would so love to sit with her. I mean, I feel that I know her because I have studied her life.
You're walking in her footsteps.
And yes, that a path that she created, right?
It's a beautiful thing.
One of my heroes is Thurgood Marshall. You know, and you talk about like him being active in the streets and what he did in terms of
Mm-hmm.
representation, and then went to the court.
That was my
and carried
first
that
report.
over.
Thurgood Marshall.
Who's that last seat going to?
You know who I saw recently, who I just love, but he's one of two, the Justins from Tennessee. They refused to be silenced. They're both in the state capitol.
Okay.
And they were speaking up about gun violence.
Okay.
And then the other legislators tried to shut them down. And Justin Jones is actually from Oakland, and born where I was born at Kaiser Hospital, Oakland, California. Yeah. That would be kind of a good mix, because then that's kind of different generations of leaders.
First thing you do in the morning, last thing you do before you go to sleep.
First thing I do in the morning is work out. There is a prayer that comes in after that.
Yes, of course.
Every day. And last thing, usually to tell my husband I love him.
I know that's right.
And what's your guilty pleasure? Do you have any?
Yes. One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho. Old school, original.
OG.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right there.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly. Gotta have a napkin nearby.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. What was your process? Because it was fast. What was your process, or what did you do when you were deciding who to pick for your vice president?
You know, ultimately, what it came down to was Tim Walz. If you look at Tim Walz and you look at me and you have a sense of who we are and where we came from, you think we have nothing in common. But
Not for real. You wouldn't. You would think.
He comes from and grew up in the same kind of, different part of the country. Folks were a different color from a different culture. But same people. Hardworking people. Straight talking people. People who have values. And I just found that so familiar to me. And I guess that the process was ultimately I made a decision about my gut around, like, and not that any of the other candidates did, but just do you have a connection to the people and a life experience that is about just seeing people. And but it was a whole thing. I mean,
you did some cooking. You were trying to watch a movie and couldn't focus. Like, is that your nerve? That's what I want. Yeah.
So you want to know that part?
Give me that. Yeah.
Look, from the time that the president called me and told me he wasn't running, I mean, it just like everything was in speedy motion. And I was not sleeping so well. And that one morning, I had, a few hours sleep, and I like to sleep. I just got up, so I just went out and got a pork roast and started marinating.
That worked. Get in your happy place.
And my family happened to be in town, so they were very happy about the whole situation. But I just got up and started, everybody asleep, I just got up and started cooking.
Set your mind easy.
Yeah.
Last question. As someone who's...
I love that she said she went in there and started cooking, y'all.
To elevate, what does it mean to you to be the first woman president, but the first black woman as president?
Yeah. Well, not there yet. Not good.
But you get in there.
And one of them is she would say to me, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, maybe not the last. And I take that so very seriously. I've had the good fortune to mentor a lot of people along the way, including to this day. For me, it's about, one, understanding the shoulders I stand on. We talk about a Shirley Chisholm, and then so many people who are alive who have mentored me and helped me up. And I feel so strongly that, each one pull one. You got to leave that door open more than it was when you walked in. And that's what it means to me. I feel a great sense of responsibility. I mean, you talk about your daughter and what she's doing at school. I look at our sons. I feel a sense of responsibility. Hopefully remind them that
they can do this
too.
too.
Hear no.
Yep.
You should never hear nobody like you has done this before, or it's not your time, or they're not ready. Like, don't hear that.
No, don't hear
that. I eat no for breakfast. That's my saying.
Well, I think too,
I eat no for breakfast.
You got to see it to believe it. We talked about that growing
Yep.
up in the community. You got to see it to believe it. We've seen Obama do what he does, and now we have an opportunity to possibly see you. And to me,
Yeah.
you know, 5, 6 daughters.
A woman.
You know, I have a daughter. Just that
I want to see this in my lifetime. A woman. My daddy didn't get to see Barack actually take office.
There's so much good.
I want to see a woman take office and do something about what's really going on. They don't want a woman. Baby, we about to get a woman and we won't be going back. I don't want to go back. I can't afford to go back. I can't afford to be getting beat with billy clubs and with water hoses and sprayed with water and going. I'm not going back. I refuse to. I don't know about y'all, but I refuse to.
And I hope that in my career and in my work, to the extent I am able to help people reject that I can do that.
I love it. Before we get out of here, we would like to give you our first ever coffee.
Oh, you're kidding.
Okay.
Simon & Schuster. We did a partnership with them, so we want to sign this
Please do.
for you.
New stuff happening for you guys,
Yeah.
huh?
Making our way.
What is the name of the company?
All the Smoke Productions.
Okay, so productions added
Yeah,
that.
I just added it to the end.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you
All
all.
the stories, some of our favorite guests, and their thinking, everything from
Yeah.
mental health to family to business
Right.
to basketball. So
I'm so glad you guys are I mean, on everything, but on the mental health piece.
yeah, it's huge.
Because that's, especially coming from the two of you and the folks that you'll bring on,
Yeah.
we
Well, I
just
think
need
too,
to
it's-
remind people that it's actually, like, this is about self-help,
Yeah.
right? It's like, stop suffering.
Yeah. And I think too,
We're living with so much suffering.
we came from as low as you can be and made it out. So to inspire and to let people know it is okay to ask for help is important. But
here's the other thing, if I can just add to that. I think we have a system that fails people if only the exceptional can get out.
Mm-hmm.
it's a great point.
Right? That's a failure of a system.
Mm-hmm.
Because, then people say, oh, but this person and that person. No. If you're pointing to the exceptional, and that's the only success story you've got, that's a failure of a system.
That is failure of a system. That's right.
Yeah.
People always ask me, what's the difference between you and George Floyd? We grew up in the same area, did the same things, but I had
Yep.
the opportunity to go play basketball.
Yep.
He didn't have an opportunity to get out together. So that was
Yep.
that's the only difference in our areas is opportunity. Everybody don't have the same
That's
opportunity.
exactly right.
That's what we got to get back to.
That's exactly right. Because if you didn't have that skill, but you had other
I would have been
skills.
right there with it.
Right, exactly right. Exactly right. How's his daughter doing?
She's doing great. She's doing great.
She
Gianna's
is.
doing real good.
I'm
She-
glad.
She's in school, but sometimes she'll hear something that'll bring her back to that place.
She got counseling.
Yep, and she has a great support system. She has a great support system. So
And her
she's doing
uncle's
great.
so wonderful.
Everybody has done things for her.
Yeah.
And she's definitely reaping the benefits of it. So it's been a blessing for her.
Tell her I asked about
I
her.
definitely, I will. I will.
Yeah, we should have her come back too when she's on break. Yeah. She's a sweet child. She really is. And handled all that attention
That's
in
true.
every way, because that was a lot. In every direction, from even people who want to give her love and support. But that was a lot for a child of that age.
Ooh, and I love when she said, she said, my daddy changed the world on top of Stack's shoulders. And I was just like, I love that he did that for her. You see how your daddy did?
We really are.
My daddy,
Ain't no blueprint to it.
And not
it
at
was just,
all.
oh my God.
We are making it up as we go.
My daddy changed the world.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for having us in your home. We appreciate you. I know you're very busy, but sitting down and talking to us and talking to the people, and we wish you the very best moving forward.
I thank you both.
Yeah.
I thank you. I look forward to talking again. Thank you.
That's a wrap. You can catch this on All the Smoke YouTube. We'll see you guys next week.
So, guys, that concludes my reaction to the All in Smoke Kamala Harris and Matt Barnes and Stack interview. Guys, we got to get out and vote. She had some good policy. She had some really good policies. Y'all heard them. I like her economic plan for what she wants to do for America, period. Doesn't matter about race, color, creed, whatever. She is going to make sure that the American people is getting what they need. So I ask y'all, just go out and vote, because we need things like everything that she said, mental health. We need a package that is going to help us build homes, go back to school at these HBCUs for our kids, for our kids. Y'all, we just got to do what we got to do. So that concludes my reaction. So, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that post notification bell so that when I upload, you know that I've done so. Till next time, peace, y'all.